Okay, so let's see what happens now.
Okay, so I think
Refresh.
we should be back, everyone. We are so sorry. We are experiencing some issues with the internet, but hopefully we are back. We apologize. This is a very important game. The winner will get an invitation to the World Championship. Liliana is at 6. That hostile investigator is into play. Ivan only has 4 lands, so not managed yet to find the 5th land. Iliad at 16, Ivan at 20 life. 1-on-1 is the score for these players, so whoever wins this game will make it into the
Ooh.
finals and World Championship. We have a draw here now for Ivan.
We're just letting the opponent. Oh. No way. I think he's bluffing Tishana. Well, either he has it, I'm not sure. Either he has or he's bluffing Tishana, which is going to fall flat in the face of a duress from Ivan. Supposing we, for example, attack first. Oh. So there is no Tishana, there was a bluff. But Ivan has duress, but he doesn't even use it. He just pluses that Liliana.
And I mean that Liliana can minus next turn.
Wow, what's that?
And now to the rest. The rest, let's see if Iliad has anything to say about it. Just discarding the no more lies.
Yeah, and the issue right now, I mean, you're allowing Elliot to attack Liliana down again, but, you know, it's a looming threat. But, woof, holding on to that ultimate, I mean... Next, that's a interesting spot.
Very interesting indeed.
Ivan will probably further add to the battlefield, but drawing cards at his leisure.
Oh, and then it is the
that's a
5th
good
land that Ivan has been looking for a while. Field of Ruin on the Restless Cottage. Obviously, that is a very strong card against Azoria's control, but this means that Ivan will now have 2 mana untapped. That does leave enough mana for Tyr Ascender. There is not any great target right now, but and I think everyone wants to see the frog once again. We saw, and I'm dare to say that the Gitrog has been one of the cards of the weekend. This Golgari midrange almost feels like a mono black discard deck, doesn't it?
Yeah, just waste not. Where's the waste not when you need it?
Iliad, a very well-known French streamer and player versus Ivan, a player from Italy, so a local player since we are in Italy here for the regional.
Oh, but now we're just allowing Liliana's ultimate like just face up. Just like, you know.
Yep. No Tishana.
Not bluffing Tishana, not anything. Not attacking it. Oh, there is get lost. Never mind. That's
punishing Ivan for not minusing there before.
No way. That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
And I think Ivan is lost now. Good thing he has 2 maps to try to lead them into victory, but things are not going to be easy.
Take a deep breath. Oh my god. And now we're back square one with like just looping, lose 1 life, draw a card. Wow. And the perfect mana as well, exactly 6.
And these semifinals leaving us in the edge of our seats, I must say.
Lisa, okay. The last card is Terra Sunder, I think. Okay, we're mapping onto it. Okay. We can efficiently use the mana. Cottage? Okay. Cottage is good.
Yeah, if there is no more Field of Ruin effects, but there's one left, right?
You know, one map left, 6 mana, no more land drops, so that's still in hand. Terra Sanda versus the Wandering Emperor on 1. And what were the draws right now? One card. Oh, are we getting on the offensive, are we? Okay. Activate plus Emperor onto the Anchorage. Maybe, potentially. Or just cashing it in for a Samurai. Like, if you know it's dying anyways with Glissa.
Iliad still at 14. This game has been such a strong one. And Glissa is a great card. Another 3-drop that stopped playing as much is Geeks. The 3
Oh,
mana.
Gigs. Yeah,
Do you
definitely.
prefer Glissa or Geeks?
I think I'm more of a Gigs enjoyer. Because what I really like is the fact that I can take advantage of gigs without actually using gigs. So that's cool. Like on turn 3 you can play gigs and attack with the other creatures. Okay, so now Tishana's on top. We haven't deluged much this match and this game, and that might be the bane for Elliot.
Okay, and I'm not sure what is happening right now. I think we're just seeing our players waiting for a second.
And now the Wandering Emperor cashes in for a token. So we've got a Samurai land pass. So Samurai and Anchorage.
A Samurai,
Oh,
an
Liliana of the
Anchorage, and
top.
a Dream. Liliana, everyone's favorite planeswalker.
So we can Liliana minus maybe. And get rid of the blocker. Attack with Glissa. Connect. Trigger on entry. Now we of course need to tap double black. And these basics are... Who knows? Maybe they're swamps. Maybe they're not.
Liliana, that was once one of the strongest planeswalkers in Modern. A lot of things changed since. It was once also believed to be too strong to play Standard, but here we are. It's definitely quite a pickup though, and doing a lot of work.
3 damage. Trigger. I assume lose 1 life. Draw a card. Ivan with a full grip right now. Terrasanda.
Terra Thunder is good, but not quite yet. Now
Okay.
we do have a Dread Knight.
And a map onto it. So can we draw a Sunfall is the question.
So looks like another Dread Knight is revealed
We'll
and
just keep
stays
it.
on top. So that's now a 4-3. Elliot at 11 life. And he needs to have a good top deck here. Another Restless Kutage. So that card is going to be very strong. Elliot needs to use that Field of Ruin, but there's not mana for everything.
Yeah, and then the Restless Anchorage can kill off Liliana, but then you expose yourself to getting hit for 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, lethal with the Cottage. So you would have to use Field of Ruin, attack, kill off Liliana, but you're still getting hit like a truck for like 7. So Elliot in a pretty bad position now. His answers are spread thin between creatures with ETBs, creatures that have an on-hit trigger, planeswalkers, creature lands. It's really difficult to keep up with this diversified suite of threats. Match.
Passing the turn, and we are coming closer to the end of this game, one way or another. Really curious to see what is the pickup for Iliad here.
Take a deep breath.
That's important.
Did you see what was the draw?
No, I did not.
Uh,
Attack the Liliana, make a map. So I think here Iliad needs this map.
yeah, hold up field, or at least hold up field.
Tishana Tidebinder is the pickup. So that can block. We know that the top deck there for Ivan is Dread Knight. Now, the thing is that Iliad cannot Field of Ruin plus Tishana.
Yep.
So if Ivan does decide to go for the Restless and apply pressure, it looks like he's going to do, Iliad is kind of forced to go for that Field of Ruin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dread Knight and Terra Sunda in hand.
An important decision here. It's between Tishana's activation or between
Okay, so much on the line.
Field of Ruin. So do you get rid of the 4/4 or do you play Tishana's Tidebinder?
Because if you play Tishana as a creature, you could just trade with the Dread Knight. But then it has the die trigger, right? That could be recast. We might be waiting in the beginning of combat step so that there
Field
is no,
of Ruin there, so floating a mana.
Yep. So floating a mana, let me double check the wording on Terra Sunda, because when you kick it, you can exile any non-land, right? Any non-land. So it cannot get rid of the anchorage anyways. I think Ivan has Dread Knight and Terra Sunda, so conveniently he could use Dread Knight to draw a card, hold up Terra Sunda for a potential, like, I don't know, temporary lockdown? I'm not playing this match, but I can feel the pressure, I can feel the suspense. Like, I can feel the...
A World Championship invite is...
like difficulty breathing, because it's getting so heavy on you.
So this is 7 damage, putting Iliad down to 4 life.
Down to 4. Golgari midrange.
And these Glissa can either draw a card, it can take care of the map token, so depending on what Ivan wants to do here. There's also, I think, a Graveyard Trespasser, which it is day right now, which means that there's one more point of damage that Ivan can make. And I think it's going to come down to this top deck.
Yeah, Dread Knight. I mean, Ivan, I think the 7 damage has been self-inflicted, wasn't it?
Yep.
I think Aklazot's in hand there. Now, this is the top deck. The World's Championship top deck. It's a Plains? Or a Get Lost?
Best one would be a Sunfall.
Oh, I mean, it may have
Farewell,
been... It may have been Sunfall. It may have been Sunfall. Was that a World Championship invite draw?
We will find out. It's a Plains.
It is a Plains.
Now, the Restless can block a creature, but we know there's removal on the other side, so all Ivan has to do is attack. And this is a World
The suspense,
Championship.
I mean, this is heavy. This is just heavy.
The player that wins this will get an invitation for the biggest tournament of the year, the World Championship.
In Las Vegas.
Stakes are high. Let's see. I think this might be a victory for Ivan here. Does he attack with both creatures? That's the question. He does not know that he's one attack away from making it.
Well, it's not technically lethal, right? Or is
There's
it?
the Anchorage, right? But there's a removal. There's Tear Shunder, so
but Terra Sunda does
not
kill...
Yeah, that's true.
It kills the Tishana that could
But
block.
there's Graveyard Trespasser, right? So that would be enough.
Oh, if there is a Trespasser, then probably yes.
So attacking with both creatures. That's a 4/3 trample. Looks like we have the Restless Anchorage here being activated.
Declare blockers. 3 damage. First strike first. So first strike.
And
being
that
very specific.
Dread Knight does have trample, which is important to mention.
So we can now draw into a removal spell and kill the blocker, and then we'll trample over for lethal. But we might not draw because there is Tishana Tidebinder. Remove the counter is cool. So we don't know what the choice was.
There's a tide binder, looks like, on that.
And that counters the trigger. So now we declare. We do the trigger, yeah.
And now so fast that
Graveyard
Graveyard
Trespasser.
Trespasser is going to be the card that
Yeah,
gives
that's
Ivan
GG.
the win here, and is going to be playing in the World Championship. Congratulations to Ivan, our Golgari player. That was such a close game, y'all. The final will be Golgari versus Esper mid-range, and you cannot miss it. This is going to be it for me and Philip, but you do not want to miss the finals with Will Hall and Martin Yuza. This is our last event here for Legacy European Tour. Thank you so much to Fox Sound crew. They are amazing, and they are just always supportive, and they made these events possible. Thank you so much for Legacy for providing this experience. Thank you for my co-casters. Thank you to you, chat. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you sometime soon.
Yep, hopefully. Thank you very much. And
Enjoy
that's
the
it from us.
finals.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, and cheers. See ya.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Legacy European Tour Regional Championships, and we are at the finals. My name is Will Hall, better known on the internet as the Will Hall EXP. This man sat to my right, that is Hall of Famer Martin User, and we thank you so much for being here and getting here. We know it's been a long day of magic, but we hope you've enjoyed it. There is one more to go because we need to crown ourselves a champion. We need to give someone this trophy in front of us and the title European champion. It's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy. You have to run off with it. I'm going to go down memory lane quickly, though. We started on Friday morning. 197 players turned up in the last chance qualifier. 16 players from that managed to get themselves into the regional championships here in Europe. This is where Europe's best all battled it out. 810 players. Whittled it down to day number 2 with an excellent 18 points or better record, and that was 176 players started today. Over 6 more rounds of Swiss and a top 8. We are left with 2 final players. They've earned themselves invites to the World Championships as well as the next Pro Tour, but there can only be one. Just like Highlander, they need to walk away with this trophy. So we're going to see who that is. We believe we've got a video ready to go to show you which 2 players we have in the finals and what decks they are playing. This is also the first time that we're seeing this, so let's have a little look. This was our top 8, all top 8, obviously a variety of different decks here in Standard. But over the last 2 rounds, we've whittled it down to just 2. This was the pairings going into the quarterfinals. Then going from the quarterfinals, these were your winners. And then I'm hoping it's going to show us the semifinals next, which it does. Love it. Production, well done. And then the winners of us. And now we're left with these 2 in the finals. Now talk to me about these players. Who is it? What decks are they on? Who are we 1 match away from crowning champion?
Yeah, so we have Ivan Erika, which I think was the lowest seed in the top 8.
Yes.
So he was playing on the draw every match, playing Golgari midrange. And we have Mateo Ferreira playing Esper midrange, which was the deck of the previous big tournament, which was Pro Tour Seattle. But clearly, it is still one of the best decks in the format.
Okay, I'm not going to hold any more. We're going to go straight down to the match. We're going to kick this off. Best of 3, remember. Winner takes all. These trophies in front of us, plus the pillar-coveted Will Hall interview at the end of this stream. So let's get down to that match, please, production. Let's not wait any longer. Let's crown ourselves a champion. So, of course, play draw dependent. Highest seed gets to go. These seeds were 7th and 8th. So we're going to see Mateo on the left of your screen going first. How big is that in this kind of mid-range matchup?
Yeah, it's pretty huge because there's a lot of 3-drops in these decks that can snowball out of control if they go unchecked, and you just kind of want to be the first one to play them. Glissa, Rafina, Wedding Announcement, these types of gigs, for example, these types of 3s, they're really good, and you want to be the one playing 2-drop into 3-drop, start attacking with Rafina, with gigs, or get Glissa going.
All right, we're going to, I think we're playing this night just as a straight 3-2. Getting some power on the battlefield nice and early. No, okay, we're not. What do I know? We're going to use the other ability. It's going to go on a little adventure. We're going to lose a life, draw a card. Of course, card advantage is huge in these mid-range kind of matchups where every resource that we can use is going to be great. And a great one in that is Wedding Announcement. We've been speaking about it all weekend and how good this is. Full 4 copies of Mateo's deck. Do you like that?
Yeah, Mata just slams the Wedding Announcement here, realizing how powerful it is in the matchup. And I do like that he's sticking to playing 4. 4 was the right number at the Pro Tour for sure, because it's also really good in the mirror. But I've seen a lot of people this weekend just cut them down to 1 or 2 copies, just playing some other cards instead. But I do believe Esper should be running 4 Wedding Announcements at the moment.
And you said how good this card is against the control matchups. And obviously, we know there's a lot of control, a lot of combo this weekend. So potentially that is why we're seeing Mateo in the finals right now. I managed to watch his winning in-game. It was masterful. I honestly sat there with my jaw on the floor going, I can't believe I just watched that game of Magic. Obviously, been a phenomenal up to this point now. He's now going to go to the World Championships, but is 1 game away from being here in this booth, talking to us. A lot on the line.
Yeah, you said we're ready to crown the champion, but I think for me, both players are already the champions, having qualified for Worlds. That's pretty much the
highest we can play
biggest
Magic
tournament
Gathering.
the biggest tournament you can ever play. So both players are going to be super happy with their weekend, no matter who wins here.
Ivan on the right of your screen, this is the first time he's qualified for a Pro Tour, which makes sense. It's also going to be the first time he's qualified for the World Championships, the most prestigious tournament in Magic the Gathering, happening in Las Vegas later on this year. 4 mana. What's the play going to be? Okay, we're gonna make Mateo kind of discard a card here as Hostile Investigator enters the battlefield. ETB is discarded a card. It will make a clue because we get to investigate every time a card is discarded. So that also works with all the various channel lands as well if they were to be used in this matchup.
Speaking of hostile investigator, does this card strike you as a mythic rare?
No.
Didn't they at some point say like, hey, mythic rares are reserved to be like the coolest cards and like the most broken rares and everything?
But
yeah.
being a mythic basically means you get 3 creature types. You get an ogre, rogue, detective.
Okay.
Rogue ogres, of course, known for their sneakiness in Dungeons and Dragons, and so to speak. They're very big and clumsy, but you could be a detective. You'd be a little bit sneaky, be a bit roguey if you need to. Double wedding announcement on the battlefield is absolutely clogging up this board. Now all 2/2s. Next turn they're going to be all 3/3s.
Mateo is going to be able to go super wide here, and I think Ivan does have. Let me actually check his deck list. I think he has 2 copies of Gix's Command.
Correct, yes he does.
But that's pretty much the only card that's going to solve this problem. If Ivan doesn't find it in time, or Mateo is ready with something like No More Lies, then this is going to snowball out of control really quickly for Mateo.
When you say on time, you mean literally this turn.
Yeah,
'Cause if they grow out of being 2 power, it will not clean them up. Looks like we're just going to play. Okay, this is one of the features. We haven't seen too much of it while we've been in the booth. It is, of course, I'm looking to see if I can make sure I get the name of it. The Preacher. Yeah, the Preacher. Good.
Another one of those busted 3-drops that easily snowball out of control and create advantage. And this is how you win the mid-range mirrors. You play a card that creates advantage every turn without you having to invest additional resources. Mateo just played 2 copies of Wedding Announcement and look at his board. He didn't have to play anything else.
A full grip of cards in hand as well in case you're able to do with this. So yeah, I'm on side here. So that's the full 6 tokens we got off that. And they're now all 3/3s. Of course, this Remy comes down. That is now going to be a 3/6 as well.
Yeah, I think Mateo is ready to smash next turn with everything. Get a bunch of triggers with Rafina. Find go for the throat and a cut down or something along those lines that's going to be able to clear Ivan's side of the battlefield.
One thing you notice about Mateo, he plays very well, very quickly as well.
Yeah.
He's not a slow player. He's always thinking about it. All the lines tend to be super crisp that I've seen him play. Here comes a go for the throat, taps the ward one. We play it over on either side.
But go for the throat is not Gix's commands. that is still 18 points of damage coming through.
This does look like we're a bit far behind at this point, though. Even though we're kind of getting into the mid game at this point, but just that battlefield is so big. That's 18 power on the battlefield just on these 2 enchantments. If we untap and just have a couple of removal spells, that could just be game 1 in the bank. And we're going to play our own mount. The Bronco. We've seen that being good as kind of a standards way of Dark Confidant we've been calling it all weekend. And
good value card, yeah, for sure.
We're getting in, as you said. One of these targets tokens is going to be the target. We're going to draw 6 cards and then discard 6 cards. The problem, discarding cards in the face of this hostage investigator means a lot of clue will be generated. But if you can kill your opponent while they've got a lot of clues in battle and they can't crack them, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Ivan's going to have time to really get all this value from the investigator going, because if Mateo finds a removal spell here, gets rid of the Preacher, then at best Ivan can trade with the investigator.
Right at the minute, only 1 creature is going to live if we block people free, right? Currently 3/3s, that's 12 damage. That's 15 damage. That's 19 damage coming across. One mana up.
Looks like Mateo has not found the go for the throat. So if that Preacher can block, that's at least 1 clean block that you can pick off a 3/3. You make a trade, and that is 9/14 coming through. And that way you can keep your Bronco and the Preacher. But
I think they're talking about the clue tokens. Maybe we discarded these 6. And okay, we're going to get the clue token on there. That's fine.
Yeah, this is still just Ivan needing to draw into Gix's command next turn, pretty much.
It doesn't do anything.
The tokens are out of reach.
Gone now.
Never mind.
It's offline.
Never mind.
This just might be that wedding announcement, which, to be fair, you've been going about all weekend saying how good that is in standard, how good it was in your testing team. What you're seeing it in these mid-range matchups, a full 4 copies, and this is exactly why.
Yeah.
It is going to win this game potentially by itself.
Sometimes it's turn 3 Gix after you played a 1-drop and 2-drop, you draw 2 cards, you start drawing more cards than the opponent, killing their creatures while yours are getting through. Sometimes it's Rafina, conniving on a bat. Sometimes it's that Preacher getting through, drawing you cards, making tokens. Standard has a lot of these 3-mana value cards, and being the first one to play them in the mid-range mirror is an easy way to victory.
That's just another Mountain hand, and I think 4 lands. We're going to be going to a game 2 real quickly, I believe,
Yeah.
unless that top card is something special, which we can crack it off a clue. But lots on the line, as we spoke about. These trophies in front of us, the title European champion. That means, you know, at the Pro Tour, you're going to get your own slide on the screen. The casters are going to talk about it. Money can't buy prize. Here comes another Preacher. But, so we go block, block. That's still lethal coming across.
Yeah, especially if you can put the counters on Rafina.
So if we play this as a blocker, No More Lies is going to get it off the battlefield. Yeah, so the counters on Rafina and Blockpool. We're just going to go for the mission. I think Matteo's saying that. It's like, look, you can block my 2 biggest creatures. I'm going to do this. I just need to discard a non-land spell to get the extra +1/+1 counter, and that is going to be enough. And we are going to go to a game at 2. Matteo is 1 game away from calling himself European champion. Luckily, we can get the deck lists on screen for you all at home. It has been an open deck list tournament throughout. So starting off here on Espen mid-range side, Matteo's side, 1 game up, wants to lock up this game 2. We're on the draw now, though. What do you like bringing in here?
You want the value cards. I mean, you see what happened in game 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wedding announcement completely won the game. So you want these types of cards that create value on the battlefield without you having to do anything else. So cards that are going to come in for sure. Aklazots is one of the best cards in these mid-range mirrors. Another way to sort of get an advantage is to have removal spells for these 3-mana creatures that also can snowball out of control. So for that Gix, for that Preacher, for that Rafina, all these Glissas, if you have more removal than your opponent, then that's a good way to get them off the battlefield and get yours through and start getting that value. So removal is going to come in for sure. That long goodbye is coming in. Destroy Evil could possibly come in as well, depending on how many high toughness creatures is in the Golgari deck. And outside of that, Aklazots and probably the Wandering Emperor coming in as well. The cards you can board out. You can board out some cut downs if you're on the play. On the draw, I like keeping some of them in because you're going to be the ones defending yourself from your opponent pressuring you. And outside of that, I think Tishana's Tidebinder does not look super effective.
All right, let's have a look at the other deck list. Let's see, you know, our game down needs to win 2 on the bounce now with this powerful Golgari mid-range deck. What do you like bringing in here? I'm looking at the cut downs, by the way. Isn't it crazy that wedding announcements basically just nullified the cut downs in the deck? Like they did nothing because of the +1/+1 2 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
And they're also making Liliana kind of bad, right? Because normally Liliana is really good in these mid-range mirrors. It's a good way to sort of break the creature removal, trade 1 for 1. Let's see who's the one that draws, you know, the fewer amount of lands and the most spells. Liliana kind of lets you kill something, but also keep a threat on board. But against 4 wedding announcements, it gets a little weird. So you can try to bring in duresses and sort of clear the way for Liliana, which I think is a good way to do that on the play. Not sure about the draw, but we can certainly see that come in. But outside of that, outside of the Planeswalkers, I don't see anything in the sideboard here that strikes me as this really needs to come in. You know, Tira Sunder, obviously, that's a card that's gonna get brought in as well because it deals with wedding announcement later in the game. It deals with anything. But there isn't really anything in the sideboard that just screams like, wow, this card is going to break the matchup. You know, it's just a bunch of solid cards. We can bring in some Planeswalkers. Obviously, those are always good in these types of matchups, but nothing that really screams, this is going to win me the game, you know? And if you take it slow as the Golgari player, then you can just lose to the Flyers. You can just lose to the opponent going Fairy Mastermind into Rafina and just kind of like flying creatures flying over the smaller ground creatures that you have and killing your Planeswalkers. So you can't be that slow. You still need to have a reasonable clock.
All right, well, let's get down to the table. Let's see how they're getting on with sideboards. As I said, open deck list, you do get to look at your opponent's 75 cards that they brought this weekend. That has got them to the finals here. It's got them to the Pro Tour. It's got them to the World Championships. And you get to understand how they're going to sideboard. How would you sideboard against yourself if this was your deck? Okay, how am I going to counteract that? What cards are good? What cards are bad? We've had Martin's review on it. Players might decide it a little bit different after playing 17 rounds of Magic this weekend. This is the 18th game for both of these players. A lot on the line. Fatigue has got to be kicking in at this point. But the nerves are off, so to speak. I'd say you've got the Pro Tour invite, you've got the Worlds invite. This is just the cherry on the top, getting these in front of us and getting the title Europeans champion.
Yeah, and I'm sure both players must be super tired. I don't even know what city we're in anymore.
We're dangling. We're on our last legs in the booth here, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long weekend, 3 days of casting, back to back to back. But we're here. We're happy that you're here. We're happy that we're in the finals, and one of these two players is going to be walking away with these trophies in front of us. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Matteo on the left of your screen, or is it going to be Ivan on the right of your screen? Let me know. Let's get the ones in chat for Matteo, twos in chat for Ivan. Who are you rooting for to take this down and be crowned the champion? Who do you want me to be interviewing at the end? I need to know. Ones and twos. Let's go. I need to see him pouring up the screen right now as both players start finishing and shuffling up. I'm going to start drawing their opening sevens. I'm seeing a couple of twos. Seeing more twos than ones. The classic free. The classic free. Never chat. Never change chat. Love Twitch chat. I think they're having a little discussion while they're chatting. I think they forgot that there's a venue that needs to close and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They're fun. They're having fun, and I'm going to encourage it throughout. You know what I mean? This is your moment. You're here in the finals. You might never get this ever again. Soak it up while you can.
I think Esper midrange has an edge in the matchup because the value cards are certainly more on the side of Esper and the harder cards to remove. Golgari is mostly getting the value from the creatures, from Glissa, from Preacher, but Esper has a lot of removal. If you play turn 3 Wedding Announcement, then Cut Down or Go for the Throat are not going to be as effective as when you're dealing with a Gix or Glissa.
Does it make sense that it's going to be better in the mid-range matchups because it's 3 colors over 2, so it has access to kind of a whole other color chart of cards that some of the powerful white cards, so to speak, in this one if white is the third color. So
yeah, I mean the mana certainly is slightly better for Golgari, but it's not like it's bad for Esper. There's so many duels in standard and so many triple ends and everything that the Esper mana is very, very good.
Okay, we are here. We are in game 2 of the finals of European Championship. Golgari mid-range versus Esper mid-range. Esper mid-range 1 game up. Here comes Cavern of Souls. We'll get confirmation on what that's naming in a second. And then we're going to maybe draw one, or we're going to be able to 3-2.
I think Ivan wants to play it as a 3-2. I think this is the type of matchup where you should build your board as quickly as possible and start pressuring the opponent. And more creatures in play means, Gix draws you cards, and if your opponent has to spend removal on your early drops, that means that they might not have the removal for the Preacher later on. That's going to give you value. So I definitely like playing the 3-2 body here as opposed to just drawing a card and then essentially giving the tempo advantage to the opponent.
Yeah, like if you could follow up now with like another threat or even a Liliana, something like that, and then that's countered. You still got a 3-2 at the end of the day. You're still able to apply pressure, but not doing anything here. Letting Matteo just get a 2-2 end of turn. Now we're kind of in the same scenario, except for ours has got Vigilance, so we can also attack and block with it.
And Matteo decided not to trade and instead went for the attack and passes the turn as well. This is interesting.
Ooh, Duress found for the turn. So we've got the option of 4-drop or Duress plus this turn. We're racing. We're racing. Both players are aware.
Matteo is happy to race. Like, this usually signals something like Rafina. You want to keep creatures in play. Maybe the Wandering Emperor to block and give your creature +1/+1 first strike.
Here comes Shieldred. Looks like it might actually be resolving as well. I think there is a No More Lies in hand. To me, it'd be quite a nice target to catch with that, but...
Ooh, that's a Phyrexian. Okay, so cannot be countered here.
Okay, so that would explain why we're not seeing that being cast here. Just going to see Tiebinder Mage end of turn. Then
Just
we're
a 3-2 body, and Matteo really goes for the damage raise here. I think we're going to see a removal spell for sure. No, wow.
I think there's a Wandering Emperor in hand. I think that's...
But that's a very telegraphed Emperor. I would be surprised if Ivan just...
Well, there's Duress in hand. We're going to know about it momentarily, I imagine.
Right. Yeah. I would be very surprised if Ivan tapped that Shieldred and just attacked. Let's see here. Duress
coming down. Wandering Emperor in response. We do have a land to play for the turn, so maybe we could tear asunder something if needs be. We get a look at the grip. We see a cut down. We do see a No More Lies. We see Athena and another Tiebinder. We're going to take the counter spell. Make a little note with these 3 cards in hand. Don't want to forget them, especially at this stage of the game with fatigue kicking in.
See how big of a difference it is to play the 3-2 on turn 2 as opposed to drawing a card. If
Oh,
Ivan
yeah.
had one more card, there wouldn't really have been that much of a difference. And Mateo would have been at 20 life, or 18 because he took 2 from the Sheldred. But that would have been a completely different game. Like, being able to pressure the opponent from turn 2 is such a big difference.
All right, Terra Sunder's going to go down and force the activation of making a 2/2 Samurai. So then we can go to combat. I say safely, but at least we can go to combat. Might not want to go in there with the Sheldred, but Sheldred would trade for at least 2 of these creatures. We know that there's a Tiebinder in hand, so maybe the Sheldred can't be our way to victory, the draining gain of drawing cards. Going to offer up this Knight, 3/2 first strike, 3/2 trample, sorry, and then when it dies, we can cast the Adventure Side next turn if needs be, and that might be a way for us to get a little bit more advantage going through.
Yeah, being at 12 life, I think Mateo certainly is incentivized to block. Ideally, double block. Obviously, you don't want to take the trample damage. But having Rafina in hand also means that you can just play 1/4 next turn, and that 1/4 is going to stop the Knight forever. So you can just take the 3 and maybe play Rafina and just kind of blank the card.
I think Ivan's got Back God in hand as well. Like the powerful 5-drop. We've seen it as a one-of in a lot of these decks this weekend. If that comes down, does that do anything for to try and swing this matchup?
Oh, Aquazaz is the best creature you can have in the mid-range matchups. It's just basically impossible to kill because it just keeps coming back. And if you ever get to activate the triggers by attacking, or your opponent discarding lands to Investigator or Liliana, and you start making tokens, that's a huge swing in the game.
All right, Virtue of Loyalty is going to get hard cast. That's going to end the turn, untap all our creatures, and put +1/+1 counters on them, which is going to help in the combat race. We are at 7 though, so our creatures will potentially be on blocking duty moving forward. We've got a Back God, and I think it's Pillage the Bog in hand. Just a one of. We see this cropping up in Pioneer quite a bit these days, but we're going to go with Back God, getting that down. Don't hate it. You just spoke about how good that is in the mirror. This is a alternate art, I think. It does look like maybe it's a Planeswalker.
Could be anything.
It could be a Nissa maybe out the sideboard.
Yeah, Planeswalkers are great in the matchup, especially on the play.
The Phyrexian Nissa. Ascended Animist. Now this has got some text. So 6 land means that we would make.
Is that potentially lethal? Can you overrun here?
No, it's got to be 7 for overrun, I believe. But we could tick it up and make ourselves a 7 powered token.
Oh yeah, it comes with 5 loyalty.
Yeah. But obviously you can pay the extra. You can't pay the fraction or pay that. I think there's a bit of discrepancy about life totals at the minute. Because there was a couple of pain lands over there. We're saying, like, how are you paying the extra green? Sure. Ivan's realized, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'm taking the extra damage. Mateo is all over this. Very sharp plays throughout the weekend. Every time I've looked over the shoulder or commentated on one of those games.
It is +1/+1 for each forest you control.
Yeah, not many. Everyone doesn't do
It's
too
not
much.
a lot of forests.
But we could use it to tick down, which would get rid of the virtue as well on the other side. It does have a destroy target artifact or enchantment text with the -1. Then there's what do we value here? Do we value a big token, or do we value a way of getting that virtue off the battlefield which can run away with the game?
Both is great. Also, another thing that comes to my mind is I have a Sheldred, which is Death Touch, right? Death Touch plus Trample means I only have to assign 1 damage to each of the creatures
Ooh,
that
yeah.
are blocking it. So is there any way, do I have enough forest to maybe next turn overrun in a way where I have enough trample creatures plus the Sheldred with that touch? Maybe that's going to be lethal. I know that Ivan played a Duress last turn. I didn't really quite catch what Mateo had in his hand, but
He knows about a Tiebinder, so I was going to say this might be the other thing is we might only get
Okay.
one activation of this
Okay,
Nissa as well.
okay.
So you've got to value which one is going to be more important the longer the game goes.
yeah, there's a lot of that stuff going through his head right now. Do I want to try to go for the win next turn? Do I really need to try to play fast? I guess against the virtue, it does make sense for me to do something, because if the game goes long, then your creatures are just gonna keep getting bigger.
Yeah, we're getting rid of the virtue.
Yeah, I think I like that. I think that makes a lot of sense to me.
Passing the turn back.
Because you're already kind of just winning with the Sheldred. So now if the game goes long, you're the one who's winning because you have a creature in play that does 2 to your opponent every turn.
Cut down was drawn for the turn. Knight is a 3/2, so we do have a target for it. Do have a Ravine, do have a Tiebinder, and unknown card that I can't quite make out.
Yeah, cut
Definitely
down.
shuffling quickly.
Cut down can deal with the knight, but none of that's
Well,
going to deal
here's
with
the
Sugar.
back guard.
Wow. Okay. Here's Aklazot's.
On the other side, so it was Nissa on one side. We got the back guard on the other. I'm just playing, the Eminem song, Rap God, going on in my head now. It's a back guard, back guard. All right, I'll stop. I'll go back to the match. It's been a long day, chat. It's been a long day. Been a long weekend, but I'm glad we're here. Glad you're here joining us. So, untapped. Land was drawn for the turn. Pillage the bog in hand. Pillage the bog is a good way of kind of, finding a key card in the top X% of our deck, but it's still just like a one to find another one. It's not a way of gaining any card advantage, so to speak. Yeah, but I can't really see that dice. There you go. Thank you. It is a 5/5 token added now. A Phyrexian Horror, green Phyrexian Horror token.
All right. Look at 14 cards.
But what are we trying to
It's
find? Our
almost-
own back guard, maybe?
Just another
An answer for the back guard?
another planeswalker probably, maybe, or just a removal spell. Yeah, to deal with the god. Mateo's at 4.
We've used our Terra Sunder already, so that would be a clean answer to the back guard with the exile effect on it. Other than that, we don't really have too many. In fact, we've got no more in the 75. There's a lot of cards to look at, though.
Ooh, we have the horror zombie mutant
yes.
mount. There's a Gix's command as well.
The Frog Horror Mount, my favorite card of the weekend, it must be said. Gix's command wouldn't do too much here, though, right? It would mean that the back guard gets sacrificed and potentially hit a couple of counters on one of our creatures and give it lifelink.
Yeah, it might also just be like a nice card to have in your hand in case your opponent does draw a go for the throat, right? They're at 4,
Yeah, okay, sure.
So maybe I just want to have a guarantee.
But what about if we have a 6-powered haste trampler? Does that change the map at all in any
Oh
of
yeah,
this?
oh yeah, for sure.
Go
You
for
also
the
don't
throat.
really have to attack right away. I think there's an Aklazot's as well.
Oh yeah, we got a back guard. We got to go for the throat. A lot of options. I mean, we only get one of them, right? I believe. We just read Pillage the Bog just to double check that. Feel X cards where X is twice the number of lands you control. Put one of them into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library, and has plot. Gix's command's only got a couple of options. It's destroy each creature with power 2 or less. And the creatures on the other side are all at least 3 power because those +1/+1 counters, remember? What did we take? Didn't get a good look. I was looking at my screen. There's another back guard. Okay, back guards on both sides.
What was the second card? Oh, that was
No, it's just the one. It's
yeah,
just the
yeah,
one.
yeah.
We're empty-handed now. Hellbent, as we like to say, in the biz. Draw a step from Matei. That's going to be a... Oh, we're thinking, hold on, mate. Maybe I don't want to take this 2 points of life from the Shield Dread. We do have this Tiebinder in hand.
Oh, right. There is a Tiebinder from Mateo. I completely forgot about that. So that can stop the trigger, and now Shield is just a 4/5.
Still pretty good on this board. But yeah, maybe we have got to get in there with back guard just to gain 4 life, just kind of get ourselves out of reach. A lot of text on back guard, right? It is a 4/4 flying lifelink. Whenever it attacks, each opponent discards a card, and for each opponent who can't, you draw a card. And as there's no cards in hand, that means we get to draw an extra card, which is pretty good to do because we just turned off that Shield Dread. And then it's also got the text, so whenever your opponent discards a land card, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. Then if it does die, well, each return to the battlefield tapped transformed. And that's what we're seeing here for both players. There it is on the screen for you all. Little hand viewer there. Love that. Martin's all over it. Now, what was that top deck? A lot of land to work with here. We can potentially transform it back into the back guard if needs be, because we've only got one card in hand, so it shouldn't be too hard to empty our hand.
Yeah, as long as Ivan just gets to untap every turn with Nissa in play, he's just going to be making these giant creatures, and eventually he's going to be able to overrun, even if it's not going to be +5/+5. I think there's at least 2 forests in play.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just one, just giving all the giant monsters trample would be enough. So if this game goes on for a couple more turns, Ivan should have it locked up.
Here it goes. Back on the battlefield. think it's a land in hand. I think we're trying to, you know, sandbag it a little bit. If it was a removal spell, that Tiebinder on Shieldred might just be the target for it. So I think we might be able to rule that out anyway. This is a nice attack because if you do block it, it means that, you know, I can potentially use it. Is it next turn or is it this turn that you can use the draw ability when it dies from the Dread Knights? Dies, you may cast it from your graveyard as into an, yeah. So if it does, we can still cast it. So really tricky card to kind of block here. Do we want to take the 3 or do we want to try and give Owen another card potentially? And that is what's going through Mateo's head right now. In the tank, you know, you know it's a complicated decision if Mateo's in the tank, because as I said, very quick player, kind of has a lot thought out and decides, yeah, I'm going to take that damage. I'll drop to 5. That's fine. Last card in hand. We're going to keep it in there. We're going to pass the turn back. Draw step. That's a no more lies.
Yeah, it's not a good draw. Mateo really needs to draw something. I'm not even really sure what it is. If the game goes on for 2 more turns, the Trample from Nissa is going to be able to win the game. And I don't think Mateo has anything in his deck that's going to allow him to...
No, scoop it up. We're going to go to a game 3 here in the finals. I love game 3s of high-level Magic like this. But this time, you know, Mateo gets to be on the play. And we spoke about how important it was just getting that 2-drop on the battlefield early, getting that early pressure in, meaning that every time something has to be answered, it opens up a way for me to play a new threat. We do have the sideboards, so let's get those deck lists up on the screen for you one more time. The last time here at the Regional Championships in Naples. Starting off, Esper mid-range. Now we're on the play. Do we change anything up, or are you kind of happy what you've seen?
Yeah, now it's a question of do you want to have the cut downs on the play? Because if you go land, your opponent plays their land, then you play a 2-drop. Your opponent plays their Bronco or whatever 2-drop they have. Are you going to spend your 3rd turn playing a cut down instead of a 3-drop?
Yeah.
You almost never want to do that, right? So you should probably still have some of them. Your opponent does have, you know, some creatures that are worth killing, but at the same time, you know, doesn't kill Glissa, doesn't kill Preacher, doesn't kill Sheoldred, doesn't kill Bad God. So on the play, I would be very tempted to just cut the cut downs and kind of try to be more proactive, have these Fairy Mastermind, you know, start attacking, start pressuring my opponent, and be the one that gets to snowball their 3s first.
All right, well, let's go across to the other deck. Let's get that up on the screen. We were able to get game 2 in the books. So can we get the other deck list up on screen? Productions, there we go.
Right.
Thank you very much. So we did see the Nissa came in. We do see the Gitwalk came in. Unclear if a second copy of Shieldred came in. We saw the Dresses. We saw the Terra Sunders. Is there anything else you potentially think might have come in, or does anything change play draw dependent?
One card I would be tempted to board out is Pillage the Bog.
Okay.
I know it looks like, okay, well, you're looking at 14 cards. It's like a demonic tutor, right? But it does make the card cost 2 more. Whatever you find with it ends up costing 2 more mana. And in these mid-range mirrors, kind of, you know, if that's your 2 mana play instead of a creature, then that's a big tempo loss. So I would be very tempted to not have Pillage on the draw in my deck.
Okay, cool. That's your insight. Let's get down to the match to see how they're getting on with sideboarding. Open deck list tournament throughout this weekend. So at this point, pretty okay with what they've got, what they're playing against here in the finals. Everything is on the line. Winner takes all. These trophies in front of us, the interview and Players Champion of Europe. Let's draw these opening 7, gents. Let's have a good one. Looks like we've got lands and spells on both sides, potentially. Yeah. We got keeps.
Yeah, Ivan does have a cut down. That is important on the draw. Now, when Mattel is playing his second turn, you know, Denik or Bat, Ivan wants to be able to be ready with an untapped land, cut that, cast that cut down, and deal with the second.
Okay, we are kicking it off. This is the finals. This is game 3. 810 players. We've whittled it down to the final 2. 2 last decks, Grigori mid-range versus Esper mid-range. Who is going to take this down? End of turn, Fairy Mastermind on the battlefield. 3rd land comes into play tapped, though. Is that going to be costly? We spoke about how good the 3 drops are in this deck. pass the turn back. We could be holding up some things like No More Lies, etc. though, so, you know.
Yeah, I believe there's a couple, and I'm not sure what land this is, if that's black-white or if this is...
I think that's the black-white one, yeah.
Okay, black-white one is good. If this was a Dark Click Shores, then Mattel would be in trouble.
I think this is a Shattered Sanctum.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right.
Could be. It's an alternate art.
Wow,
Still
and
pink.
look at that. Mattel goes for...
Going to the skies, but that's going to bait out this cut down. So it's good. We were able to advance our board as well as having a removal spell with our 3 mana. Okay, we're going to play this Dendrick on the battlefield. That's a 2/3 lifelinker. So might help the race. But double Dread Knight. You know, just being a 3/2 with trample that can keep coming back, keep recurring.
It's so annoying. It is. You don't want to trade for it, but at the same time, you also don't want to keep taking 3 from each of the Dread Knights.
Wow, this is 6 now.
Denick should help a lot, though, to engage in this type of damage race, especially if Mattel is able to play Rafina, start getting some connive counters.
I think Pillagebog stayed in. I think that's what the back card is in hand currently. Not the one that's about to be cast. But I see a Beseju. I think that's a Forest and a Pillagebog. And this is going to be the powerful free drop that you spoke about many times before. But that is going to not even stay on the battlefield long enough for me to go find the name Glitter Sunslayer.
Instantly plays Go for the Throat without...
Told you, fast and methodical. Knows the lines. Everything is bam, bam, bam.
I would have been very tempted to just play No More Lies and hold up the removal spell, because now No More Lies doesn't deal with the stuff on board, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking 6. I'm gonna go to 6 life. This is getting pretty dangerous. This is a cool damage raise, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, there goes our 5th land. Get in for another 6 points. I think life totals should be 8 at this point, right? I think 2 life was gained that is being missed on our counter at the minute. Pillagebog is what we're going to cast for 2 mana. As you said, basically whatever we find in the top 10 now is going to be costing 2 more. If this resolves, just 2 land in hand. One of them is Cavern of Souls. So if we find a creature, we could potentially get in underneath that No More Lies. It's just so many cards to look at. What do we even want here? What is the kind of the ideal 3/4 drop that we can find?
That's the thing. This isn't really a matchup where you play Pillage the Bog and you get your, Unlicensed Hers or something that exiles your opponent's graveyard or a card that completely wins the matchup. This is just a matchup where there's a lot of 2 drops, a lot of 3 drops, a lot of removal spells. You kind of play them in the right order and you attack and you play the removal spells to kill your opponent's creatures. So there isn't really anything that would be particularly insane. And that's why I'm not a huge fan of having a card that's going to cost the card you find. Make it cost 2 more.
Okay, we're going to have a 3 drop. It's going to be another Glisser. Is this going to resolve? We already played our land drop, I think, which means that's why the Cavern wasn't used for it. It's going to get exiled. It's going to catch that No More Lies, just passing the turn back. We're still turning it sideways.
Instantly attacks, no problem.
Well, look at the life totals. We're racing. I love it.
Yeah. As the turn, yeah, now Ivan has to be scared of the Wandering Emperor, which would completely swing the race in Matteo's favor.
Well, dress off the top is going to help us.
That is a very well-timed duress.
I think we've got another Fairy Mastermind in hand and a cut down. Here, oh, sorry, go for the throat. So go for the throat is going to be cast now. And sure, so that's going to... We can play that till end of turn if needs be. We look at the hand. It was Disdainful Stroke and a No More Lies. We're going to take the No More Lies. Makes sense. We don't really have any big things to play in our hand right now. But if we do rip off the top of the deck, we know about it. And we also got that Cavern of Souls in hand to play around it. I'm going to go a card deeper here. It will cost us a life.
This is exciting. Neither player wants to block. Just tapping creatures sideways.
I'm here for it. I'm down. You know what I mean? After when you play your 18th game of Magic in 2 days, both of these players are probably thinking the same, like, let's just go. Gentleman's agreement, no blocks. Let's go. So we're going to go.
Oh, wow. And yeah, that's going to draw Mattel a card as well, thanks to the Fairy Mastermind.
Ooh, okay. This is the, what's it called? The Crucible of Gix. Seen this quite pop up a lot in Standard last time. 3 different modes on it if it does ETB. It is 5 mana, though, and we know about that Disdainful Stroke. Cavern of Souls would not be able to get it on the battlefield. But we can get this knight down, and we can imagine Kevin of Souls is naming knight, so we don't have to spend a point of life to cast it. Adding the 3/2 back to the battlefield. Now, is this going to make us pump the brakes a little bit? No, it is not. We're attacking. That's going to be 3 points, dropping Mateo down to 5. 5 to 7 life totals. Game 3 here. On the line is these trophies, the interview, the title. Who is going to take it down? Both players are in definitely a rush to find out. What was that off the top? Didn't get a good look. Might have just been a land. It's a deep cavern bat.
Okay.
Let me see your hand. What you got going on?
Another lifelink creature, by the way.
Another thing that can swing. Teo's going to have a little. Yeah, I'm going to put this underneath here. It's my only target. You've got Beseiju. I've got no targets for that. I potentially do. There is a creature land on the battlefield as well. We're going to go to trade. So we're going to gain 2 more life up to 8 for Mateo. 2 life going to be taken for Ivan on the right of your screen. Down to 5. Resources being eaten up by both players here, but yet we're still turning everything sideways. You know about Disdainful Stroke in hand. We know that there's a Beseiju in hand. Yeah, it's not actually on the battlefield. It is just face up. I think they're doing it for the camera. In the tank. Are we dead on the crackback? Got to remember that there is a creature land on the battlefield. So currently there is lethal on the battlefield, and it is all flying, remember. This might be enough for Mateo to go down. We're going to have to take another point of life to go a card deeper. That's
and
4.
give opponent another card.
Mastermind is going to draw, not forgetting our triggers. That was a... what?
Is that a Frillback? No. Oh, no. That's a 2-mana discard spell, I think. Something binding.
This isn't going to go well for... We could be moments away from crowning ourselves a champion. Don't even know what that's called. What is it? Is that like Harvest of Mystery or something?
No, it's the binding. It's the 2-mana. Look at your opponent. Let me find that real quick.
But that's not enough.
Binding Negotiation.
Oh, no, because Beseiju can deal with the creature land as well, so...
Yeah, don't forget that Beseiju is still in hand. Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is still... Man, I love Magic the Gathering. It's awesome. So, it's on the screen for you there. Target opponent reveals a hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. If you do, they discard it. Otherwise, you may put a face-up exiled card they own into the graveyard. We do see Bat God in hand as well. Yeah, let's get that out of there. Don't want you to have that. Now what? There's no point being on defense because we can't block anything. It's all flying.
Yeah, you can't replay the knight because then you're dying to the flyer. So you have to just pass and Beseiju the land if Mateo activates it.
Big draw step here. We're just going to get game for free. Dropping over down to 1.
And normally Gix's command would be an out, but we know that Mateo has a Disdainful Stroke.
Going to Beseiju the land now so we can use use all our mana for each turn. Okay, it's got to be a big top deck, and I don't know what it is. What could get us out of this? Path to Peril, if they came in. Gitrog off the top would not work, because that is not on mount. I'm thinking. Didn't get a good look at what it was. We'll turn this sideways. Dropping Mateo down to 2. Tapping 3. It is a graveyard trespasser.
That is not enough. That doesn't have
One
flying
land.
or
We've got
reach.
ourselves a champion, and his name is Mateo, taking it down with Esper midrange. Congratulations to our European champion. Woo.
That was a game. That was a hell of a game.
That was a heck of a game, especially to have here in our finals after all of that. Congratulations to Mateo. We're going to get them in for an interview. We're going to give them the trophy here in front of me. So if you've got any questions, let me know. I'll put them to the champ himself. As you come back to the booth, I'm Will. That is Martin. It has been an absolute enjoyment to have you all here. Please do fire any questions you got in the chat. I will make sure I ask them. But what a weekend of Magic we have had, Martin. If I was going to ask you for your highlight, what would it be?
Just Standard being a fun format.
Oh, just overall.
Lots of viable decks. Yeah, just overall, fun format. Lots of cool games.
Yep.
They're going a little long. I think maybe we could use 55-minute rounds, something like that. But outside of that, I'm very happy with where Standard is right now. There is
Do
a
you-
lot
do
of
you like the
viable
meta?
decks, a lot of different types of strategies you can play, and there's gonna be a rotation soon. There's rotation in like 2 months,
August 2nd, I believe. Someone was saying.
something like that. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, we're getting them up here for an interview. They're just kind of obviously packing their stuff away, celebrating with their friends a little bit. Then we're going to get them here for that interview. Give them not one trophy, but 2 trophies. Look how beautiful it is. The nice, island teardrop here, as well as giving them a legacy trophy to go on the shelf. 2 for the price of 1. I have you be. I don't know where they are with him, but maybe you're celebrating a little bit.
I think this trophy qualifies you for the Pro Tour, and this trophy qualifies you for Worlds.
I love
That's
that.
the-
Why
that's
are
how
we
the
why are
thing-
we only bringing that up now? I'm all about that. That's pretty cool. See, using that Hall of Famer knowledge, I like it.
Yeah,
You've been
exactly,
been here before, not your first rodeo, my friend. I feel like my highlight of the weekend is probably not a play, so to speak, but the ID for the aggro decks going in, or the toxic decks going into thing. I thought that was really cool. I liked just stories from the game. I feel like getting into your 3rd RC top 8 is also a huge achievement.
Oh yeah, that was yeah.
There's so much going on. It looks like it's coming up right
All
now.
right.
So if you can step out, my friend.
Wow, just throws me out of
Yeah, if we can get rid of this Hall
I'll
of
see you later,
Famer,
guys. Thanks
like
for
what
hanging
do
out.
you know? Okay, we're gonna get the headset on. So yeah, but get your questions in chat. Come around here, my friend. Sit in this seat. Watch out though. Try not to lean forward in this seat and move it around too much. Put this headset here on. We're going to talk into this mic here. First off, congratulations taking it down. I was
Thank you
there,
so
sat
much.
there, watched your winning in, and
Yeah.
I've been saying since then, like you played it so clean. You don't take long to to make a decision. You kind of got it all in your head, ready to go. So first off, the first question is, how does it feel? You are now the European champion. You get this trophy, which qualifies you for the Pro Tour.
Thank you.
You get this trophy, which qualifies you for the World Championships.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I feel excited. Like my expectations coming into this tournament were just to play my best Magic, try to get there if I could, if not just have good time with friends. It ended up coming all the way, so that's
All the way.
great. And also feels great because every time I've tested with players for this event, we've always had someone in the finals.
Oh, really?
Because yeah, I had a friend that lost finals in Ghent and one that won the whole thing at Lille.
Oh,
So yeah,
I need to be in your tested team.
yeah,
This sounds
yeah.
great.
We've been doing quite well at these tournaments, so it feels well to do great again.
Okay, why did you bring this deck, Esper mid-range, this weekend?
Right, so I felt people were going to play a lot of Teamer Analyst and Blue-White Control, and also the contrary decks like Convoke and Toxic. So if everybody wants to be on the edges, you kind of want to be in the middle if you can, because there's not many cards that excessively target you, and that makes it so you always squeeze in and you can always get those extra leaning points. Like in these games that I've played in the last rounds, they've all been about the clock and counting like 3-4 turns ahead. So if you can do that and you feel comfortable doing that, I think Esper is just the best deck.
Okay, 4 wedding announcements. We spoke about this weekend. We've seen a lot of deck lists. A lot of people seem to be shaving these. You went no, full 4 copies. Why that? Why this weekend?
Right, so I think Wedding Announcement has like this good catch on the card that it's like it's good against control on turn 3 and on turn 6, like we've seen on camera, like it's good anytime because the games don't have to go quick. And in the mirror is just such a mirror breaker. Like in the semifinals, my opponent was playing only 1 Wedding Announcement, and that was obviously the winning factor in that game. So for sure, Wedding Announcement is a 4-off. I think Preacher is a scam completely because the card it just dies to the removal that people are bringing in anyways. Like people bring in Long Goodbye, people bring in extra removal, Gix Command, stuff like this, and Preacher just falls to that. And also, like when people compare these 2 cards, especially in the Teamer Analyst matchup, Preacher is never drawing you cards. Whereas Wedding can actually do, because they're always gaining life with the land, so you never get the draw trigger. You get Vampires, which are extremely good in the matchup. So, but yeah, I think Wedding is great, and I think people, like the list was really worked on. I had a couple teammates play it as well. Didn't have so much success, but it went well for them, so I encourage people to
I was
try
literally
it.
mind blown by watching you. No, not only commentating on your games here, but I was literally watching you off when I wasn't commentating, watching it, and I was so blown away. I was saying my jaw was on the floor watching you. We spoke about that turn off camera, which I don't want to bring it up, but you decided no blocks at one point for your winning in, and I thought, that, like on the face of it, it looked like the wrong play, but calculated, so precise. It was so cool to see. I want to know, what card is your MVP this weekend?
I think Wandering Emperor by far, because like Wandering Emperor has got me so many games where like in game 1 you have a 1-off, so people have to respect it, and you can represent a lot. Like in my game against Blue White, I was always representing like these random cards like Deshaun or Wandering, but Wandering is the most devastating of them all. And also Wondering lets you do like some combat tricks, like the game you mentioned in the winning in against the red-green aggro deck. Like without Wondering, that turn would have been like completely flawed, because that's the card that allows you to do those strategic plays and like take advantage and continue developing your board, which is kind of what this deck wants to do. It wants to stabilize, but pressure.
It was awesome to see, and it is good that you said that. You touched on my next question was going to be is what open deck this tournament. You've got a lot of one-ofs, again, making your opponent think, making you think as well. So I've got nothing else to say except for say congratulations.
Thank you so
are
much.
the European champion. You are the proud owner of these. You
Thank
get
you.
to go to the Pro Tour. You get to go to the World Championships. Any shout-outs to anybody? This is your time.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out my friends that came with me here, especially Alberto and Sergio, which are at home with me, and Ruen and Jairo. They came to the apartment with me, and all the crowd that's watching me there. Also, special thanks to all the people in Spain cheering for me. I got
a lot of them.
20,000 messages on Twitter, WhatsApp, whatever, and I'm really grateful for them all. I hope to do well the Pro Tour, get another chance, and hopefully be back here again.
So do we. Shout out your Twitter. Let's get you as followers. People are going to want to know all the ins and outs of this deck.
So my Twitter, it's MATFERVAZ. So I think it's much easier for me to say, just go to the Legacy page. You can see me tagged on number 7 and go from there.
There you go. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so
One last
much.
handshake, my friend.
Thank you
We're
so
going to
much.
get Martin back in the booth and we're going to close down. Take these with you. I'll take your headset off you. There you go. You're good. Congratulations, buddy. Absolutely amazing performance. Where's Martin? Martin's not here. Okay, right. I'm going to close down the show by myself then if Martin's not here. I have a speech prepared, ladies and gentlemen, because for some of you know, this will be the last time that Legacy is the TO currently, okay? It is going to be passing across. So I've put together a little closing speech for it. So as we come to a close here, the Legacy European Tour, they have hosted the Regional Championship for 2 years at this point. I want to take this moment to remind you of what they have done for European Magic, and with just some numbers. For Classic qualifiers, the 2-day events, they've put 28 of them on. That's 8,992 players. They've put on 6 regional championships, sending over 3,000 players to those events, sending 204 players to the Pro Tour, as well as the 36 here today. They've sent 12 players to the World Championships. And that's because of all the dedication and the hard work that behind the scenes that you don't get to see. It's not easy to put these on.
Can we turn the camera around and show everyone behind the scenes?
These are the people I'm talking about. We don't need to have the camera on me. Point at everybody over here, please. Yeah, turn them around. Turn it around. These are the people that are behind the scenes doing this.
Working on this, yeah.
I'm actually privileged. We are privileged to see behind the scenes. Go on, turn it. Spin it around. Spin it around as I do this. I get to see all the behind the scenes. I get to see all the hard work that everyone puts in it, from all the Legacy staff, the judges, the production crew. I promise they have tried so hard at all times to give everybody that watches and everybody that takes part in these the best experiences they possibly can. So to chat, I want to say thank you to you from the bottom of our hearts for showing up time after time throughout. For the last 2 years, it has been amazing. I want to thank our sponsors, Card Market and Omegod, for their support in all these amazing events. But a special shout out to the Foxhound crew. That is who you're seeing right now. They're the people behind it. They put 100% in every single time, during, after, and before every event. They put up with me, always asking for more of them. I'm always asking for something new, but they always deliver on it, and they do it with a smile on their face. So we could not have done it without you. Personally, this is from me, I want to say thank you to Legacy for giving me my first shot, my first casting gig, for trusting me through every single show that they've had me on, for giving me so many opportunities, which led to me personally getting to the Pro Tour. I'm super passionate about live magic. I really, really enjoy it, and I hope that it comes across to you all. I need to say a huge thank you to all my fellow casters over the last 2 years. It has been an absolute privilege to work with every single one of you. Harry, Philippa, Skura, Ash, Matei, Martin, Canister, Gab, Lily, Javier, Baptiste. All of you, I've learned something amazing from you every single time, every little bit of you. Every time I've worked with you, I've just got better throughout. So a huge shout out and a huge thank you to all of you. So that is an end to the 2-year stream, the 2-year journey that we've been on together. I want to wish the new TO all the best moving forward with the regional championships. Even though we don't know what the future is going to bring, we hope to see you all in the future. It's been amazing. Good night.